Let's get in here and let's talk about it. I'm joined by Ike Jones. Mike G will be joining us shortly. He's here, but he'll be joining us shortly. Typical. This is pretty typical. This Auburn team only mustered up 286 yards of total offense in this game. The offense just was not good. Only scored 10 points of offense. Needed help in special teams with a muff punt by Missouri. Still wasn't enough with Brady Cook coming back in the game and literally rescuing Missouri from disaster on their end. Ike, your initial thoughts?
Yeah, man, this team is not good. That's just all there is to it. It's not a good football team. They're just finding new ways. Like it's like unlocking new levels on a video game. They're like, is there a new way that we could lose a game? And let's explore that option. You had the ball in plus territory with the lead and didn't do anything with it. You had the ball in a goal to go scenario and you threw a touchdown and you dropped it. On that same drive, you miss a field goal badly that would have at least put you in a better position. I don't know what else to say about this football team, man. They're missing tackles. They're not getting key stops on defense. The defense is playing like 80% of the game well, and then they do something crazy on a third and I forgot what it was when they got the big 70-yard play right there. Like I don't understand I don't know what else to say about this. And it's not just one person. Like there's a bunch of people that are out here playing like absolute Our offensive line at the end of games wasn't good for this entirety of this game. But at the end of games, Missouri is only rushing 3, maybe adding a 4th, and they get a sack. Why can't we pass block in critical situations? You didn't need to go for all out there. I don't even know what to say about this, dog.
I know what to say. So, look, at the end of the day, you scored one offensive touchdown in this game. The offense is comically bad. Period. Right? You have playmakers. You can't consistently get to the ball to your playmakers. Your situational play calling is awful. Situational play calling is awful. And then when it is good, some of again, everyone keeps talking about rebuilding this roster, rebuild. The guys not making plays out there are guys you brought in. Robert Lewis dropped a touchdown pass that wins this football game, period.
It's still a rebuild. I don't want to keep rehashing the rebuild conversation. It's still a rebuild.
But we're talking about talent, and I'm not letting this conversation go. We're talking about talent here, and the guy you brought in did not win. Well, you had your chance. He missed it. He missed a touchdown pass. Peyton Thorne made the pass that could have won the game. You didn't make it.
You're right about that. I'm not disagreeing with you about that.
He did. It was right there in the breadbasket. Towns McGo misses the field goal that maybe changes some kind of thing about the game. I don't know. Ultimately, they ended up scoring a touchdown there. There's a causality to things, so I don't know what happens if he makes that field goal. Sam Jackson missed a wide open crossing route over the middle that maybe puts you back in field goal range. That's another potential 3 points. Hugh Freeze has to answer for this. But you're not telling me that you're getting the most out of the guys that you have on this roster. You made a statement earlier on the front end. This is not a good football team. I'm saying this is not a good offensive football team. Yet again, you give up 350 yards of total yards on defense. That's it. Brady Cook is a good quarterback. I expected him to come back. As soon as he came back in the game, I was like, crap, okay. They got playmakers over there. My expectation of this football team is not perfection, and that's what the defense would have needed today to win this game with what you put on the field offensively. They would have had to been damn near perfect. If you're going to score one touchdown and a field goal, and you're going to get the ball at your 50-yard line, and you're going to blow every single opportunity inside the red zone, and still have a chance to win the football game at the end. New ways. This is why I picked Missouri. This is exactly why I picked Missouri. I said there's something about a football team that is finding ways to lose every single week. It's a new way you're finding to lose. Defensively, they were coming up with big sacks there to kind of push Missouri back, put them in advantageous situations. Maybe if Cook never comes back into this football game, Auburn wins. Obviously, they gave him the good stuff in the locker room at some point because they really didn't want to lose this game. But the way I'm looking at it, this is just not this is not a good offensive football team. Hugh Freeze absolutely has to answer for this.
I agree.
He does.
I agree. And it just seems like whenever the pressure is on Auburn in the second half, they fold. They can't rise to the occasion. They can't even hang on for dear life. Again, look, it's inexcusable that last drive Auburn had where you're in plus territory and you can't even get a single first down.
The first down, not one first down. You had so many chances to put this game away offensively and you didn't. Situational play calling is awful. And then the thing is so out of whack when the plays are there, players aren't making plays.
Right.
We were having this conversation, anybody in any other receiver on this offense not named Robert Lewis, I promise you makes that catch. We're watching these guys make plays all the time. Somehow this rotation ends up putting the wrong guys in the situations where you need big plays the most.
I'm just trying to figure out why is he in that type of play?
That ball went right through his hands. There's no excuse for that. You are not good enough to miss.
Cam comes down with that easy. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's it. That's the bottom line. That's what Auburn is dealing with here. I see the viewers building here. We're going to get to your comments in just a second. We got almost 800 people here watching. I figure there would be a lot to talk about. I knew this was going to be a thing. Another point of frustration. Now you are a 2-5 football team. You're a 2-5 football team. Every single game you played was winnable outside of maybe Georgia. So, I don't like I said, I don't like what I'm seeing from this team offensively. And I pray to God like that at the end of the season.
I'm afraid it's deeper than the offense, Mike.
Like, look, I mean, you might have to start talking about some culture things here in a second.
Like the offense is bad. Point taken. But I think what's happening to this team goes beyond the ineptitude on offense.
Yeah,
this team cannot make plays in the second half.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just don't know how somehow the playmakers aren't in positions on critical downs when you need it the most. How is that happening? I don't understand how that's happening with this football team 7 games in. That does not make a ton of sense. 2-5, man. Caesar, I don't have a ton for this. I don't have a ton of words for this, but this is just it's not a good offensive football team. Defensively, you can be upset at how maybe they break down, at critical parts late in games, but you got to understand, right? Like teams make push all across the SEC. We're seeing this. We're seeing teams make pushes late against good defenses because they got talent. There's talent everywhere. You have to expect that. The game should have been out of reach, though. You score a touchdown on that drive, the game's out of reach. It's 24 you know what I mean? If he catches that ball, it's 24. They don't even have a chance. They need 2 scores at the end of the game. If the offense does their job there. So I have a hard time. Like I said, I understand that they make mistakes. I think they're amplified by the fact that Auburn needs the defense to do so much more than any normal team would with average offensive production.
Right.
You didn't hit 300 yards of total output in this game. And this isn't some vaunted Missouri defense that they're facing this year.
And let's be clear, not. They gave you a lot of opportunities in this game with Cook being out for the majority of it.
Yeah, the offensive line, man, look, they're not good. Ike's right about that. Like, they're not good. And Percy Lewis is just I don't know what's going on with that kid. But you've got to find a way to put together some sort of game. There was like no quick passing game. When you do make a pass, that pass to Fairweather over the middle at the end infuriated me. She practically stayed away from the middle of the field for like 2 straight games. Then you set this kid up to get killed.
But that's why they don't. That's why they don't
On
do
a
it, Mike.
crosser over the middle,
That's why
right?
they
And it's
don't
like,
do it.
yeah, you can't execute anything over the middle of the field. Anything, Caesar. If let's go back here again, and I'm telling you, when you look at that, even if Robert Lewis doesn't, if Towns makes that field goal and Sam Jackson makes that catch on that crosser, Towns has an opportunity maybe to get Auburn to 23 points. Guys universally failing to make plays when it's time to make plays might point to the deeper issue that you're talking about.
Right.
Because it doesn't seem limited to any one guy. And Peyton Thorne's going to take a lot of heat in this one, and as he should. But
As he should.
Like I said, it seems a little bit more widespread than that.
Yes. Like you're talking a breakdown at various points. I am baffled. And we're gonna get into you guys' comments because I see them piling up. I am baffled with the play of Keontae Scott this year. I'm at a loss for words. People who have made plays in the past, Mike.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's something deeper, because these are guys we have praised. These are guys who have made. We were excited about some of these guys in this final season. Not showing up. Let's get to your comments. Let's get to your comments real quick. Jordan Ingram says they had the QB that could make the play when they needed it. We don't. Another game where you just need someone to make a play late, and no one did. Thanks for the comment.
Auburn doesn't hit 21 points and loses a football game. That seems that we say that. If you watch this show, we say that week after week. If you look at the amount of games Auburn has lost over the last 5 years where they couldn't score 21 points, it's staggering.
Travis Latham says Peyton Thorne is the stink on the poop. Thanks, Travis. TJ Lou with the 199 says I'm officially done with AU football now, guys. And this is something that we need to talk about. Probably we'll talk about more in depth on tomorrow, but the apathy that's setting in, because there was a contingency of the fan base who was hoping that Auburn turns things around today, Mike.
Right.
This is a game coming off of a bye, right? You're coming off of a bye. There should be some adjustments made. You're going to be different, and it's just more of the same. The hope that Auburn will begin to mature into a better football team, that hope is fading, if there's any still hope for it at all. So we'll talk about the apathy probably on tomorrow, but it's really beginning to set in with the big part of the fan base. And again, that's what's going to cause Hugh Freeze's seat to get hot.
Agreed.
JJ Brand says PT is like, goodness God gracious.
Oh yeah, don't say that one.
You never know when, but the flare up is definitely coming. He didn't have a good game.
JJ, that's not from experience.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Are you projecting,
bro?
JJ, a little bit? Mojo Nixon loves fried C. Go with chicken there. When does Anders Carlson come back? I'm sick of watching McGo miss field goals that my grandmother could make.
Yeah, look, I hate it. I hate to beat. We don't like to beat down on kids, but Towns is not doing well. He's not. I mean, and it's hard, because you're the kicker, and when you don't get a ton of praise when you're doing your job, and when you don't, you're under this type of scrutiny. But the truth is, maybe the complexion of the end of the game looks different if he makes that kick, because you don't need a touchdown, you need a field goal, right? Or you force Missouri to react different. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's a causality to everything. If he makes that kick, the whole flow of the game could be different. And it's just at this level, missing some of the field goals that he's missed, it's just not acceptable. It's just not.
All right. Otis Smith says 2 words: sad and pathetic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, how many different ways can you be disappointed at this point?
Right. Right. Robert with the $10 super chat says, if this is on track, then Coach Hugh Freeze should be fired immediately. No one cares about what you say you're building. I don't care if Auburn becomes a rotating door for head coaches. Just get someone different. So Robert is over it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's kind of been my point, Robert, about this whole thing about rebuild whatever. Like, this isn't nothing you saw here today was about a rebuild. You're picking players. You're putting the guys in the positions that they are in now. And I'd be hard pressed for anybody to try to tell me that he's getting the most out of the talent right now. He's not. And there are coaches doing that across the conference where they're getting the most out of their talent and they're putting guys in better positions to make plays more consistently. It's not happening at Auburn right now. I think we just need to call a spade a spade.
And you look no further than the head guy.
Yeah, you have to.
Because again, I expect you to get the most out of your, like, again, I think Auburn fans were not expecting, reasonable Auburn fans were not expecting a 9-10 win season. You were expecting improvement, which means you're getting the most out of who you have currently.
Yeah.
What was, in retrospect, Mike G, hindsight is always 2020, but that was concerning that we got what we got out of last year's team. Because there were winnable games even then on that schedule that Auburn did not get. That was a bad omen. That was a sign of things because the talent is improved this year. And
you have a better wide receiver room. You've got a running back that everybody considers to be one of the top. He got voted first team All SEC preseason. I think that with this game, Keandre Lambert-Smith falls off of his 1,000-yard pace that he was on. You've got dynamic freshmen who can make plays for you. You've got, defensively, you're playing more freshmen than anybody and getting more production out of your freshmen than anybody defensively. And I don't know. I think that DJ Durkin is doing a really, really good job what he has. And I would expect, given the chance, that side of the ball would only continue to get better as he brings in more talent and the talent that he has already brought in matures. But offensively, there are no signs that that talent is being managed the way that it should be.
Listen, I'm impressed with our corners. Like those outside of obviously Keontae Scott, like the young corners, they played well. Obviously, there was a penalty here and there, but that's expected with young corners. They played well. I'm impressed with how that part of the defense has come along.
Right.
I'm going to pause real quick and bring in Dustin real quick from the up tempo. Talk to me, Dustin. Thoughts, man?
I just got back from the movie theater. I saw the same movie that I watch every Saturday. It's crazy. It ended exactly the same. So let's talk about this, guys. Red zone offense failure, missed throw to Rivaldo Fairweather. You do make a good throw to Robert Lewis. Okay, he drops it. Missed field goals. You still got a chance to win it on a 4th and 5. Your defense has to make one play. You've been playing great all game. Of course, you don't make the play right there. I don't have a whole lot to say different than I come on here and say every Saturday. Caesar, let's go back to what I said last time. It's a culture of losing. Yes, the quarterback play has to be better. All that kind of stuff. We can at this point, man. I'm really at the point with it where I'm tired of getting into the details. I'm tired of getting into the weeds of who changed the play on 4th down here or what. I don't care anymore because when we got down there in the red zone, the possession that ultimately Towns missed the field goal on, knew right there Auburn was about to blow this game. And the fact that we keep being in that point every week when we can say late in the second half, there it is. There's the start of the collapse. We can all identify it, and it keeps coming true every single time. It's really crazy. And before I came on, y'all were talking about the apathy, and I've sold my tickets to the remaining home games. You know what I mean? Like it's just you're just kind of there. It's like I'm actually more excited now for the rest of the college football day. Like, all right, now I can chill and I can just watch the games and I don't have to watch Auburn do whatever it is that Auburn does for 3 hours. And I think that that's really the scary part for the fan base. And it's a bad place for Hugh Freeze to be already. And guys, I traveled to Loosed Up, Mississippi last night. I'm sure y'all saw it on Twitter. I was posting all the clips of Deuce Knight going off.
Mm.
And I left that feeling like, all right, there's a guy coming, right? The future is exciting, but like you get into game day, and it feels like the coaches aren't living up to their end of the bargain. And again, if you can go through all the details. Well, here it was this guy, here it was that guy, here it was this, here it was that. Ultimately, it's on the head coach to set that culture. And this culture is, I'm going to change it from culture of losing to calling it a culture of collapse. Not only do you lose, but you lose in the most epic of ways every Saturday. And the whole college football world is waiting on you to do it, and you deliver like clockwork. It's insanity.
Yeah, and you're mentioning, and I made a note of this last year, Dustin. Like you we're talking about the future, and that's been one of the things that Hugh Freeze has been trying to sell as the future with recruits that he's bringing in. How you manage your current talent is an indication of what you're going to do with even better talent, right? We've seen teams with lesser talent give more talented teams hell,
Right.
because they don't beat themselves.
Well, right.
They put it on the other team to beat them. That's not what's happening with this
Yeah,
team.
and again, the player conversation is one that I have a hard time with, because again, if you're expecting players to save the program instead of the other way around, you're going to find yourself in a very precarious situation, right?
Yeah.
They have to go out there and do what they're told to do, what they're taught to do, what they're
Right.
trained to do. And like I said, I mean, yes, talent takes over, in key situations at times when you see that you're evenly matched, or you're playing a team that's not as talented to you, but you've had some problems in scheme that day, and the talent takes over, and sometimes players just make plays. But for the most part, the teams that win consistently, it's having those types of players in the right kind of scheme and play calling situation that consistently makes it easy for them to just use their talent to be great. That's it. You knew what kind of football team you were coming into this one. I think that first drive really put a bad taste in my mouth. Like all week we talked about, like, hey,
Second drive too. It was the first.
yeah, it was like all week we talked about just run 127. He doesn't touch the ball in the first drive. And then Missouri proceeds to hold the ball for nearly the entire first quarter. Those are opportunities to score taken away from your offense. So, you get into the second quarter, you start to find some groove, you're doing some things, right? And then, Payton Thorne does what he, quite honestly, he's done all season, is he's found big plays at times when they're there. Hit Cam Coleman in stride. Okay, great. Auburn didn't take a whole lot of shots down the field in this one either.
No.
I noted that on our halftime show. I was like, man, they haven't gone down the field hardly at all, it feels like, in this game. So where does that leave you? You're at the end of the game, and now, again, you're consistently asking your defense to hold off one of the better quarterbacks in the country in their house.
Right.
And look, man, I'll be clear. If Brady Cook plays this whole game, we're not even having this end of the game conversation.
Sure.
We're not having this end of the game conversation, I'm telling you. Right? Auburn got a gift that he didn't go out. They really didn't want to lose this game. So they shot him up with the good stuff there to get him back into the game. And as soon as I saw it, I tweeted it. Auburn fails to score in the red zone, misses a field goal, misses a TD catch, and then Brady Cook comes in and immediately leads a scoring drive. This is not going to go well. It's not going to end well. So, it's tough. But 2-5 is a hard pill to swallow, and Auburn has to find a way. Now you're in a position where to make a bowl game, you got to win 4 out of your last 5. It almost doesn't matter who the opponent is at this point, right? Like, is Kentucky a better team than Missouri? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think Missouri's great, honestly.
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, so I don't know. Dustin, you look like you got.
Well, no, I mean, just like Missouri's not a great team, right? But they're also 6-1. Like, they find ways to win games. So I'm going to sound like a dead horse this whole week, I'm telling y'all. I'm going to say the same couple of things over and over again because I don't care about any of the other stuff anymore. To me, it's like Yeah, so Hugh Freeze draws up a good play, like or whoever calling the play, draw up a good play. Robert Lewis is open, and he drops it in the end zone. That would have put it 24-6. But instead, you shank a 30-yard field goal, and like Mike said, then here comes their starting quarterback, and it's like Auburn. Not only is Auburn allergic to closing the game out or closing the drive out, this like they're allergic to momentum. Anytime Auburn gets a little bit of momentum, they're quick to say, no, we don't have any time for this. We don't want this. And I've never seen Auburn fans coming into the season more realistic. You've always going to have the people in every fan base that are like, we're going to go 2-2, 11-1, make the playoffs. But like everybody was like, hey, we know the situation. We understand the situation. 6-6, 7-5, 8-4 would be fantastic. But everybody was in our chat all summer saying 7-5, I'm good, baby. Because 7-5, Hugh brings in a top 10, probably top 5 class when you do that. And then you feel like you're going in the right direction. 2-5? Go back to July and say we're 2-5, and everyone would freak out, and it would have killed you on Twitter if you would have suggested that. So like, let's not act like this is okay. This is not okay. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I got killed in the spring for saying that I felt like the ceiling for this team was 7-5. If nothing changed, the ceiling was 7-5. Folks were like, "Oh, you're not an Auburn fan anymore." I'm like, "Oh, did you guys watch last season? If nothing improves, right? 7-5 is your best case scenario."
And again, a big part of that is Hugh Freeze doubling down, and Hugh Freeze made some strong statements in the offseason for why he didn't revisit the QB situation. He doubled down big time, and he talked about the locker room and not messing up that room. Again, I said this a few weeks ago. I wonder if you look at that QB room, is it look messed up to you now? Like, how does it look now? Right? And it's almost like again, you're betting on yourself. Nothing wrong with betting on yourself, but here's the problem when you bet on yourself. You better win. Hugh Freeze is not winning by betting on himself, by going with Peyton Thorne, fixing everything around him by bringing in new receivers, great running back room, brought in a left tackle from Mississippi State. Still not working.
Yeah. I see the comments stacking up here, Caesar.
All right. I'm assuming this is Smith here. This is pure coaching malpractice. I wasn't on the 5 freeze train until today. Recruiting be damned.
Yeah, I think that ultimately, I wonder how what's happening right now is going to be used in terms of negative recruiting by other coaches.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. If they hold this recruiting class together, that will probably be one of the most positive things the staff has done since they got to the plane.
It will be by far. It will be by far. Otis Smith says, when you give away 6 wins that you had, man, sad.
Yeah. Just
they're stacking
crazy.
up. They're stacking up.
Yeah, you were in every single ball game. That's the reality. You were in every single ball game.
Mercy says, I'm done with Towns.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I am. They made a note that McPherson was available.
I don't think we're gonna see I don't know. You would think if you were going to see McPherson, you would have seen him today coming off of a bye week.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen him now, I don't know.
I don't know on that, guys. I think they're trying to get to the 4 games, so it doesn't count as an eligibility year.
Oh, to save a year of eligibility for him?
Yeah,
that's a very good point. Yeah. Well, you're losing a football game, so maybe you can sit out another one.
I know. I'm with you, Mike. I'm with you.
Yeah, let them play this one and let them sit out ULM. I don't know. They don't have to be consecutive.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right.
I would have got him off the bench promptly.
Robert Guy with a $2 super chat. He wants Freeze gone.
I'm not on this train yet, but I understand. If you are.
This is the apathy, Mike.
Yeah. Because this is I mean, again, this is a below average result with a better than average roster. This is a better than average roster.
Yeah.
Better than average wide receiver room.
None of us on here are saying this, but again, when I talk about apathy, this is what I'm talking about. We already had a few comments here saying they're over it.
Yeah.
They're ready to move on.
Yeah, it's fair. Look, man. Again, I'm not there, but two things can be true at one time. You can both be frustrated with this result and still
Yes.
not think it's time to dump the coach and in the trash.
Right. 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 JJ Brand says, "Hey, you not finishing?" Sponsored by Joy Mode. Thanks, JJ Brand. Appreciate that. Someone with the name Fire Freeze says these seats on the train are filling up quick, Mike. I'll still save you one though. If you have to dumb down your offense this much for a fifth-year senior, how is he the best chance to win?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question I had after Georgia last week. It looked like they really, really limited the offense.
Oh, Mike, I think your camera went out.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a question I had versus Georgia last week. It looked like they really, really limited the offense, and they dumbed it down. They stayed away from the middle of the field, like they made it a lot easier to defend them. And if you take away the big plays, I mean, in terms of just executing offense and methodically moving the ball up and down the field, Auburn fails that test, man. Red zone offense, which we noted in our pregame, has been awful. I think they got down there maybe twice today. The field goal that Towns did hit was outside of the red zone, a 31-yarder.
Yeah.
We did live in plus territory in the first half, though. Like we weren't necessarily in the red zone a lot, but we were on the plus side of the field the entire first half and got nothing out of it.
Yeah. The defense did a good job of flipping the field there, Dustin. I thought.
Yes.
In the first half.
TJ Lou says, question, would a Cam Ward made a difference here?
Yeah, 100% he would have. Yeah.
Yeah. There's certain plays from the QB position that I think would have been made with Cam Ward.
You maybe don't win all those games with Cam Ward.
Cal. I think you beat Cal.
Yeah. But you get it. You're not sitting here at 2-5, right? Like,
right.
I mean, Auburn maybe is like 4-3 with Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he'd be the difference in at least two of those games.
You beat Oklahoma.
You beat Cal.
You beat Cal.
And you probably beat Arkansas, honestly.
Maybe. Probably. Yeah. You probably beat Arkansas at home.
Hell, you win this one. You win this one today with Cam Ward.
Yeah, so you're looking.
He might be good for 4 wins. Yeah, I don't know. Shoot.
Right. Yeah. Yes. To answer your question, TJ, he would have made a huge
difference. He would have been a difference.
I don't think so. I think Auburn finds a way to lose. Cam Ward doesn't throw the ball better. The pass to Robert Lewis, can Cam Ward throw that ball better than Peyton Thorne did there? Auburn will find a way to lose, guys. It doesn't matter who the players are. This culture is shot.
Yeah, I think you run. I think you run your offense differently if you have Cam. You can't Ward.
Going, I just feel like it doesn't matter. Like,
I understand that. I think because again, there are certain situations that may not even play out with a different QB making certain plays.
Correct. Yeah. It's a whole different ball game, I think, with Cam Ward, where you're probably opening up your offense more and you're doing some different things.
Yeah. Rod May says we're not winning another game. Even ULM is 5-1.
They're a good team.
Robert Guy, in case we missed it earlier, fire freeze. TS says I don't even want us to beat. Wow, that's pretty. That's at a low I've never seen. You don't even want to beat anybody now.
Yeah,
I think you want to beat them more after this. Mr. Gibson says, Mike G, you didn't think Carnell was ready to be our head coach. Carnell wouldn't be 8-12 right now.
Yeah, look, man, I didn't. However, yeah, you're right. I don't know where it'd be. I don't know where recruiting would be. I don't know where a lot of other things would be. But this was hard. It was hard. 2-5 would have been hard to predict. As pessimistic as I was about the ceiling for this season, I did not think the floor was here.
I don't know if I like this comment here.
I don't know if anybody thought the floor was there. Like, yeah. So
I understand what Mr. Gibson is arguing here. But my thing is, to you, what you just said, two things can be true. If Caddy is not at a place in his coaching trajectory, career trajectory, where he's ready to take on a program like Auburn, that's okay. That doesn't mean he's a bad coach. It just means he has further along. Like we're seeing the trajectory of a Travis Williams, right? A few years ago, he bet on himself and took the defensive coordinator job at UCF. He's now in P4 in the SEC as a defensive coordinator. He continues to do well. Someone's going to come calling for him, but it's a process for him, just like it's going to be for a caddy. So it's not a knock on caddy. I don't think he's ready, but at the same time, to your point, Auburn's in a bad situation. So
yeah,
I think your point is valid to a degree, but again, we're comparing him with someone who probably really wasn't ready yet. That's just my opinion. Not for this job. Thomason says we'd be in better shape with Caddy, not a question. Again, I don't know. I don't know. Wally Baldwin says, y'all think we could hire Oakland's running back coach? I think how that works is you got to fire your current coach, right? To hire somebody. I know Auburn tried to do this before, hiring someone before they fired them, and
it didn't work out too well.
Didn't go out too well. So I think we can't put the cart before the horse.
Talking about Jetgate.
Hey,
it did lead to an undefeated season next year.
Yeah, they kept the coach though.
Okay.
Yeah, but the coach went 8-4 that year or something like that, right?
Yeah. I'm not condoning what they did. I'm just saying, hey, it did spark a nice little winning streak.
Yeah.
It did. Robert with a $10 says, I heard announcer says Derek Nix calls first and second down calls while Ken Austin is calling third and fourth down plays. Coach Hugh Freeze is calling plays too, right? Talk about a cluster.
Yeah, I don't have any information there, but
that's
okay.
You're right.
Yeah, they go into coaches' meetings. So if they said that, it's possible that was something that was shared with them prior to the show. I mean, to the game. So on the Friday before the game, they have a coaches meeting where they go in and they sit and they talk with the coaches, and the coaches share certain things. So maybe that's what happened there. Let me see here. Oh, are you good?
I'm back. I'm good. All right. Yeah, these supers are piling up here, guys. Frankie Free says losing with a 6th-year QB while our young QBs ride the pine with no development or experience in a game. That's on Hugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It is tough.
Hugh Freeze has put it, but the thing here is that Hugh Freeze has put himself in a situation where he doesn't have the luxury to even develop a QB. And I think that's the problem. That's the problem here. Now, obviously, you could expect him with the season going the way it's going. Might as well play one of the younger guys. But after this season, he has to go portal. And that's why, again, you made mention of Hank Brown. I don't know what Hank is thinking. If Hank stays, I would be surprised. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, if I were him, I'd be out of here.
Robert says 4th straight losing season equals culture problem. He agrees with you, Dustin.
Yeah.
Bo Bonner says, is Hugh Freeze the guy that can turn this program around? I know he can recruit, but that can't be just it. We have to win games.
Yeah, this is bigger than players. What we're watching is bigger than players, right? So yes, we can be excited about recruiting, but I think it's right to be concerned about how those recruits will be managed.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're Ryan Williams, you're laughing right now. Because you're one of the biggest stars in college football on a 1-loss football team. And, Auburn was coming after you hard. And what would have been the plan for a guy like that? Wait one more year, and we're going to go get you a quarterback. That's not what kids want to hear, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer Bo's question by saying this. Let's look. So we're playing a lot of freshmen on defense, right? We can all acknowledge that for the amount playing more freshmen than any defense in the country, I think it's been pretty solid all year. Now let's look over at the offensive side of the ball. How are those freshmen? How are those young guys performing? Which one of those sides of the ball does Hugh Freeze has his hands in, and which one does he not?
Yeah.
Mike, I'm about to jump, man.
Okay. Let me get in a place where I can take comments. Hold on.
Okay. I'll take this next one while you get situated. Otis Smith with the $2 says people saying 3-9. I want to know where y'all see win 3. Obviously, they're pointing to ULM, but ULM is not a cupcake by any stretch of the imagination. So,
Yep.
in the way this team is being very charitable with football games, that's not out of the realm of possibility. JJ Brand says, I think this team doesn't have confidence in Peyton Thorne. Maybe something else we may need to talk about here. Just in terms of how
definitely a
this team
conversation needs to be
playing.
had.
Yeah, so that's something we may need to explore there. Stephen Cryer asks, is it basketball season yet?
Almost. Tip off at Tumors was this week, Steven. It was this week. So yeah, almost. The answer is yes.
Matthew Cofield with the 999 says we need to fire Hugh Freeze now. Again, the apathy guys. Even if we drop some guys in the upcoming class, he has no idea how to fix this. Needs someone who knows how to run an offense. And this is wild. This is our 3rd straight offensive head coach, guys. And our offense
is always the problem. Yeah,
it's
weird.
Problem. It's incredible. It's amazing. Cal Sweat says boo boo on top of boo boo week after week. Yeah. Big Homie Lander says there is no toss, only losses the rest of the season. No toss-up games, pretty much.
Yeah.
Austin says take Thorne out, please.
Yeah.
One more, Mike. Are you good?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jump, fellas. I don't know. I'll say this before we go. I just don't know where Auburn. I don't know what defines Auburn's season. I don't know what Auburn is going to do with the rest of its games. What's the goal at this point? Because obviously it doesn't look like you're going bowling. How do you define the next few games? What are you going to do? Are you going to continue to do what you've always been doing? Because that's not working. You came off of a bye week. Obviously, there's so many issues you can't fix in a bye week. But where do you start? You have to start questioning the soul of your team at this point.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where it's at.
Yeah.
All right, Caesar. We'll holler at you later.
Got
a special treat for you guys, bringing some extra heat here. I'm going. B-Roll, you ready? Can I bring you in? Oh man, the face says it all, guys. The face says it all. Be Will, before we get to your thoughts, let's get to some more of these super chats because they're stacking up here. Our guy Ian says, can someone tell Peyton to give the damn ball up and not try to run it himself? Give the ball to your running backs and quit trying to be a hero. Man, again, the way this offense is set up, we definitely have some questions. Brad Browning, play calling was the problem, not Peyton Thorne in this game. Mike Davis says it's a 17-14 and you need your QB to make a good, accurate throws under pressure to open guys on 3rd down to the end of the game. Thorne once again folded twice. Cook didn't. Keandre Smith, Lambert Smith, KS is the Keontae Scott is the defense's Thorne. Keontae's having a rough time here, and I kind of noted that. I know that's his guy. But Keontae's struggling. Oda Smith says, nah, F all that. Don't want to beat down on kids. NIL, these kids making 6 figures a year. Like he doesn't want to be like all that. What he's saying here is, the beat down on kids conversation is not one he wants to have because they're making money. And I think that is the dynamic you have in college football today with even what Peyton Thorne and people questioning why he's starting because of money. Travis Latham says, I'm scared to death about our recruiting at this point. Give me Hank Brown, Wardam Eagle. Man, it doesn't feel like recruiting is wavering. Deuce Knight committed after a loss. But I got questions down the stretch about how coaches are going to use this to negatively recruit. Let's see here. Idrosky says it's like a sick joke that Auburn seems to always be playing beside Miami on the time slots. All right, Cam Moore.
It's so discouraging. You see them numbers? You say that Miami, 7 more points. Golly, we out here struggling, hoping for 20.
Yep. Frankie Free says better position groups besides the most important one, QB. Right, good QBs go out and make plays. Brady Cook came back from the intensive care unit to make plays today for Missouri and get them the dub. If he doesn't come back, I no doubt Missouri loses that game, honestly. Exclusive TV says, saying we don't have talent kills the locker room. How you expect to get the best out of the players when you say we don't have our players? I agree. I think that conversation just needs to die at this point. Auburn doesn't have a talent problem right now. It's not why they're losing games. Spoon Kai.
It's a great comment. This is a great comment.
The culture was set when Freeze gave Thorne the job so he would stop pressing.
Hey, man, how can we pin that to every chat we have for the rest of the season? I want that to be the first thing you see on the page. That is exactly what happened. All that talk about culture and what you want your locker room to be, but you don't let it play out on the field or in practice. You let a guy who didn't earn the job in practice get the job and then use the fact that he was the guy last year as, oh, well, we got to let him because he learned so. Stop. Don't do that. That was a terrible move. Terrible.
Yeah. Virginia Double Dribble says Mel Tucker is going to get hired for making the 14 college football playoff with PT. Rick says, ha, we only have to win 4 of the last 6 games. This team is a reflection of the coach and his behavior speaks. Try not to lose, not winning. Rigger Spoon says, let's be honest, Freeze was hired because of beating Saban. The same reason we kept Gus too long was he beat Saban. Saban is gone. We need a Spurrier who can win with what he inherits, and he can recruit guys to be dominant. Spurrier was ahead of his time, I would say, for sure. Frankie Freeze says, doesn't matter who we could have had. We got Peyton Thorne. End of story. Yeah, I mean, this is where you're at. I agree with you, Frankie. TM Taco says you would think that at some point they'd win by accident.
Remember Brian Harson's win against Missouri? That's exactly what happened.
Y'all gave Harson all that grief, but he came back on Georgia State. He didn't lose his G5 game, and he got the game versus Missouri. So it is what it is. How's it going, guys? Let's see here. So John Belkin says, I haven't seen B. Will on here for a while, but I saw he was posting on Twitter today. Always good to hear from B. Will. Well, B. Will's here. Good, he heard What's you. Up? He showed up. So thanks for that comment, John. D.L. Lee says, how are we more talented than last year but look worse? Does the effect of the 2025 recruiting class? How does this affect the 2025 recruiting class? Not so far, but again, it's a long time from now to December, so we'll see.
Yeah, it is.
AJ Emerson says, what have y'all seen on the field to justify keeping Freeze? This is a question that's going to start to get asked more and more as Auburn gets deeper into this season if you don't start winning games. That's it. Missouri was a gettable game. I said it, all week long. Who are you picking, Mike G? I'm picking Missouri, but I'm telling you Auburn's going to be in this game. I think they can win it. And they found a way to lose it, which is why I picked Missouri. Scotty Carroll says the announcers mentioned that Auburn has 3 people calling plays. Is this normal? The whole play calling by committee thing, I think, is something that baffles my mind. It was asked. I asked Hugh Freeze this at his opening presser about calling plays, and he's given a range of answers when asked this question. But, if you ask him, I think he'll dismiss it and say that he doesn't think that play calling was the problem today. What do you guys think?
I just think it's been a mess since he showed up. I know B. Will's got a lot to say. I'll let him have it. But listen, it's just been a mess since he showed up. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to be pounding the table saying hire a defensive guy because this is just not working.
Yeah, he will.
Play calling is the problem, but play calling is the problem because you're trying to do it with one hand tied behind your back. You're trying to account for what a guy cannot do or what you can't let him do without giving the game away. And Georgia and this game right here, you saw it, which is we're not going to take a lot of opportunities. We're not going to just air it out because you're going to turn the ball over if we do that. So let's control it and let's manage you so you can't mess up the game. It almost worked. Until the last 3 possessions. We just need like a field goal or we just need to run a lot of clock. And even if he doesn't have to have another 40-yard bomb to Cam Coleman, complete passes. Because we can't keep running it every play for the entire drive. We're going to have to put the ball in the air at some point. Their safeties are going to be looking up. They're going to be waiting for the run. And eventually, what do you know? They stop us. So now we got, instead of Jarquez getting some 7, 8-yard, 12-yard gains, now we're getting 2- and 3-yard games. So you know what? Now it's time to put the ball in the air. Can he do it? No. He can't.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
can't
I
do
mean,
it. So if you can't complete those passes, this is just what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to. I don't think the play calling is not bad. You're just, I don't know, man. Can you ride a bike, from here to work with one of your tires flat? No, no. Does that mean it was a bad idea to ride your bike? No. You just need a better bike, or you need to change your wheels. This is what it is.
Agreed. Look, man, this is these are some hard conversations that we have to have. Riley Mobley says, "Why is no one calling out DJ Durkin? Run stop is a joke."
I actually don't mind the job that DJ.
I'm not on this page,
we're giving
man.
up an average of like 18 points a game, or something like it's. If you're telling me your offense can't put up 24 points a game to win, would we be undefeated with 24 points? Maybe not.
One more touchdown. If they score two offensive touchdowns in this game, they win.
That's it. It looks bad because it's the last play that their offense gets that our defense gives up. We are on a hair's edge here with what the defense can give up because the offense isn't giving us what we need. That's why it looks so bad, but that's not the issue.
Yeah, I've been saying this, B. Will, for a minute. Like, you scored 10 points on offense. You had a field goal and you had the one bomb to Cam Coleman, and outside of that, you did nothing. You got the special teams touchdown that made it look a little closer, but without that, Missouri wins this game by 2 scores.
Yep.
So, I mean, muffed punts are not something you should be counting on here. Like Auburn, they good on them for scooping and scoring that, but defensively, I think that they've done a good enough job to keep Auburn in every game, including the Georgia game. Okay. Most Stevens says fire and freeze would do nothing but harm our program. Our recruiting class would evaporate. Fire and freeze would not set us up, would set us back another 3 years. I agree. This is why I'm not on the fire freeze train. But two things can be true at one time, right? Like, we can not want him fired and also say, hey, bro, what are you doing? Because if the questions don't come, the changes won't either. And you've got to have some questions because those questions create accountability for what we're seeing. And, we have a show here because people are invested in this. They are invested in this.
Right.
We could not do this for a living if people weren't invested. Those people invest their time and their money and God and their emotions and their emotional well-being on the weekends. You got to do better because they're the reason that you can make $6 million a year to do this. And I'll die on that hill. Exclusive TV says, I keep telling people saying we don't have our players, kills the locker room. You think you're going to get the best out of the player saying stuff like that.
Right.
This was an issue last year, guys. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, when I there was a whole thread about it on the whatever the On3 site is about Mike G keeps talking about messaging and this and that, and they were so upset that I was saying, look, man, this messaging isn't great, and the players are saying it to us. They're saying, look, man, if this dude gets in front of the camera one more time and says that we can't win because we suck, we're going to lose it. Yep. The parents felt the same way. The messaging was not good, and so I think that's one thing he struggled with as a job here, but certainly it's going to come back to bite you at some point, man, if you don't start winning football games. You can say a lot of things when you're winning, but you better say the right things when you're losing like this, I think.
Yeah.
Virginia Double Dribble says, perspective, we went 8-4 in 2003 and tried to fire Tuberville. We're going to keep maybe a 4-8 coach this year.
Yeah, I mean, Tuberville was a lot longer in his tenure.
Because he got hired in 99. Yeah,
he got hired in 99. And it had been pretty mid up until that point. And as soon as that happens, he goes 14-0 or 13-0, rattles off an undefeated season and all that. And then he had another good year a couple years later where he won 11 games and stuff. So, yeah, I think the Hugh Freeze thing is like, this to me looks like a lot like the Florida situation is shaping up. Is that we're going to come into next year with Hugh being in that spot that Billy Napier was this year. And that's not a fun place to live. Like that's super dangerous. But yeah, I just think that like for everyone that's saying, we're not making excuses for Hugh Freeze here. My whole thing about I'm not going to come out here and say you should fire him is because of the time. Like it's a year and a half, and that's not making any excuses. I think it's all on him. I haven't said anything about Thorne or nothing on this. I'm not going to, because to me, it all falls back on him at this point. 2-5 is on him. It's definitely going down the wrong path. And he's probably been one of the worst in-game coaches I've seen at Auburn. I mean, just doesn't handle situations well. This was what we came up with after a bye week. This offensive performance is what we drew up. Guru? Okay. Like I'm definitely looking at him side-eyed, Virginia double dribbled. And I hear what you're saying. It's just and then if you fire him right now, what's the answer? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, to me, it's just more about where he's at in the tenure. He's definitely on pace to start off next year on the hot seat.
Yeah. Let's see here. Whew, boy, you guys got a lot to say today. Al Bonner says, who is the stud QB that is going to leave Auburn next year? He isn't on the team. Hopefully they can learn the system quickly. If not, third losing year. Yeah, I think this is going to be a question. It was a question last offseason about should they go to the portal and get a guy, because all your other potentials are either going to be freshmen or redshirt freshmen after this year. I don't think I think Hank Brown would absolutely be making a mistake to stay here. I said that last year about Holden. I think he's out of here definitely after this year. But we'll see what direction they decide to go at quarterback. Thorne's done, so we know that. But if you don't bring anybody in, you're left with Walker White, Hank Brown, and Deuce Knight at this point. So Deuce seems to be firmly in the Auburn camp, thinking that they can still turn this thing around. At least if you're Hugh Freeze, at least you could the whole "we're close" message still kind of rings true, I guess, because you're not getting blown out in these games. So we'll see. TJ Lou says the playbook shortening caught up with them. Peyton Thorne running as much as he did in the second half and still not going through progressions correctly was horrific. I think that it's hard when you run that type of offense in a close game and you get it at the end of the game, and now you have to see the whole field.
Yeah,
you got to do it all, but you haven't done it all game. And now when you need it, you've got to do something you haven't been doing all game. That's tough, man. That's really tough. Most Stevens, I didn't see the comment here, but comment again. I think we'll try to catch it. Tiffany B says, haven't beaten a ranked team in 3 years. Coach Hugh Freeze needs to be accountable for putting himself in this QB situation. Start Hank next weekend.
He should have started Hank, continued to start Hank through every game, because replacing him with Peyton Thorne has won us how many games exactly?
Yeah. Since that, 0, right?
No, we won no games since Starbuck started. So whatever he thought he was going to get, I think he thought he could. Man, maybe I could eke out 1 or 2 because Peyton. No, wrong. So whatever development Hank could have been getting, if you wanted to find out if Hank Brown could play at this level, if you want to find out if he could master your offense, well, you still don't know. He has been used as a stopgap. Got the other guy back in here, and we're still losing. If you were going to bring, I don't know if y'all remember this game. It was 2016. We had it was the Sean White and Cameron Petway year, and Petway was running crazy, and Sean White got hurt, and we were playing against Vanderbilt, and we had John Thompson III. And I was like, oh man, he can run though. Maybe we can finally see him. He couldn't make those decisions. He couldn't make those throws. They brought Sean White with he couldn't even throw like 10 yards. Like that arm was shot, but we won that game when Sean White came back in that game. That is the difference. You didn't burn John Thompson and then think, oh, well, maybe he can do it, but we're just going to go to, you go to the other guy and you win. If you're going to make that switch, win, because you are killing the confidence of the guy that you're replacing. He's done. Did John Thompson play again at quarterback? Nope. Jalen Hurts, you sat him down, but you won. Nick Saban sat him down, but you won. At that point, at least for a little while, it kind of put a damper on the quarterback competition thing until the next year when Saban snapped at Maria Taylor about it. Because, I mean, it's going to be a thing. But Jalen didn't start at quarterback there anymore. When you sit the first guy for the second guy, you better be making the absolute best decision for the program, i.e. winning. Because if you don't, that first guy is done. And it looks like Hank could be done because he didn't even get a fair shot. We're wasting games losing instead of actually seeing what we got with Hank. That's probably the most egregious error on a week-by-week basis. Now, we don't know what we got.
Lisa Wise says, y'all giving a defensive pass. Offense gave them an 11-point lead. Missed tackles and assignments everywhere.
21 points surrendered by a defense. That's still
Yeah,
not bad.
I'm sorry. I just have to disagree with this comment.
Yeah, of course.
350 yards of total, but the totality of it only added up to 350 yards of total offense. It's only because the offense is not scoring that what we're even paying attention to what's happening on the defensive side. Like their mistakes look worse, right? But you lost time of possession so bad in the first first quarter, and then it started to even out. And I don't know. Like I said, these look around the conference. Nobody's really playing defense that much better than Auburn right now. Just look around the conference. They're giving up a lot more yards.
Yeah, like
You know?
we aren't an all-time elite defense. Like I get that.
No.
We have some busts, we have some missed assignments, but if you're going to look at what the defense gives you game in and game out, if I'd say, hey, it's 2014, Gus, would you like a defense that holds everybody to about 20 points? Gus will say, sure, I'll probably go undefeated.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
George
Gus
actually-
Shores, he would turn in a 10-2 season probably with a defense that's doing what Auburn's defense is doing right now. So
Right.
no, they don't get a total pass. You know, you've got to continue to improve, but based on where they're at right now with the guys they have, it's hard for me to beat down on them right now.
Yeah.
Demario Nettles, appreciate the super chat. Didn't see the comment though. Should have made Caddy OC if we're play calling by committee. You think T. Will is ready to be a head coach by 2026? Would love to see an Auburn man come home here. That'd be amazing. What's up, babe? But I didn't see the comment. Let's see. DeMar Nell says Harsin Jr. like a mofo.
I think it's worse because he's got way more to work with. He got way more to work with. Harsin had a refrigerator, half stock, half the stuff was expired. Like, let's see what I can do with this, and the meal wasn't good.
Yeah,
Freeze said,
some
"I
by
need a
his
stock
own
kitchen."
design though.
Yeah,
Some by his own design.
some,
Sure.
but Freeze is he's pretty much gotten everything he's wanted, and we still. Can we agree that at least from the start of his tenure to now, which is roughly when Harsin got fired, if I'm not mistaken, about 6 games into the second season?
6 or 7, yeah, it was right here. It was
Yeah.
remember it was right after Halloween. It was like November 1st or 2nd.
Okay.
Right there, the
Yeah.
first couple days
Yeah.
of November they fired him.
So we have less significant wins because Harsin actually beat a ranked Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken.
His
Right?
first year, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if LSU was ranked, but the bowl magic happened that night. No. That was a game. I think they were already bad. They weren't ranked, but
Right.
And
Yeah,
he
the coach
lost.
got fired that year.
Yeah, and he lost to no Group of 5 teams. So Harsin hasn't beaten. Freeze hasn't beaten anybody ranked. He's lost to New Mexico State. We lost to a Cal team there. Honestly, there's no way we should have lost that game. And are we still looking for a Power 4 win this year?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't have one.
Haven't had one since Mississippi State October 28th last year.
Yeah, they don't have one. Yeah, so yeah, it's tough. It's tough, be will. Bo Boner says ceiling for next year is going to be 6-6, and Hugh Freeze will be fired because he can't develop and is more than likely will fumble the portal. Change my mind. Portal is going to become super important here, I think.
I don't even think there's anything in the difference this year is what's going to be in the portal. Who's a quarterback somewhere that you know, oh man, this guy's it, but he's not getting a look. There were a few last year. Who is it this year?
Yeah, that kid from Nevada that like said, "F it, y'all didn't pay me," or
That's
UNLV. UNLV was it? Yeah.
UNLV?
Yeah, maybe. He's a name that I think will be hot, but yeah, I don't know. LC says Hugh needs to change the offense. Why run RPO with a QB that doesn't make good decisions? Yeah, like I said, if it's contingent on him knowing where to go with the football and make those decisions himself, certainly I think that's something that needs to be looked at. But they seem determined to ride the year out with Peyton Thorne. True Beast 28 says I'm sick of the 3rd and long conversion. Yeah, that's what I will give. This is where I will criticize this defense. You did have Missouri in multiple 3rd and longs that you gave up, and I understand Brady Cook is a great quarterback and Luther Burden is a great wide receiver and they got some talent over there. But, you know, the 3rd and longs down the stretch were like, man, you let Brady Cook get loose there. He ran for some of those. Can't let that happen. Mercy says, I wonder how many fans are going into the Vandy game, especially if we lose to Kentucky. Home game attendance will be an interesting narrative, I think, coming down the stretch here, certainly.
If we lose to Kentucky next week.
2-6. Woo.
I've sold all my tickets for the year, guys.
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. We give away tickets to every home game. I wonder if anybody's gonna want them. Yeah.
It's,
Austin says Mike G for head coach. Don't know if this is our task date, but I'll tell you, I do have a ton of medical bills. So yes, I will do a bad job for millions of dollars for 1 year and get fired and get a buyout. So Austin, I appreciate that. Thanks for thinking of my well-being. Demario Nettles, Hugh finna get that Jimbo treatment on the play calling situation. B, Jimbo's your boy. Any thoughts?
man, the Jimbo treatment to get paid as much money as he's getting paid to not coach
This
right
man
now.
got a lifetime,
wish-
like three
I wish.
lifetimes of wealth.
Man, I wish I had that Jimbo money right now. I could have led a team to a very poor football record and then getting paid. I'm jealous of Jimbo. I can't hate on him no more. He ain't wasting nobody's money, nobody's time and money no more. But man,
Yeah.
big up to Jimbo Fisher, wherever you at, man. He ain't there yet. He never won a championship. So
Yeah. Babe comes back again, says, I don't like Freeze and never wanted him, but I think we have to let it ride until after next year. Just don't understand his in-game management pain. Yeah, that's where you're at. Look, what people need to understand is in the coaching circles, it's not looked at the same way that fans look at it. When you fire a coach after only 2 seasons, it is despite whatever job they're doing, it is looked at poorly in the coaching community, and it hurts your ability to be able to go out and hire another high-level coach. In some ways, folks don't want to hear this, man, but like firing Harsin before 2 years limited their ability to be able to go out and get a better coach than Hugh Freeze.
Well, to be fair, I think our boosters wanted Hugh Freeze anyway, and that was a marriage that they wanted to make happen. So even if there were a better coach, if we were a more attractive spot, I still think our brass goes and gets Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate, but like because you should just go get the best guy that's out there if he wants to come here. Brett Venable's comments Dustin, ring in my mind when he was asked about the job. He said, I just don't know who I'd be working for if I took that job.
Yeah, I mean, that's
thing to
fair.
say publicly.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that for me, with the thing that made normally you don't want to it looks bad if you fire your coach in the second year. The reason why people that really knew, like Auburn still kind of got right through the coals for the national media. That'll always happen. Crazy Auburn firing Harsin. But the people who knew understood that like the dude literally wasn't trying to recruit. I thought it was so bad. I know legally it doesn't work this way, but his lack of effort in recruiting was so bad. I wish Auburn could have found a way like out of that buyout. Like dude literally didn't try. And that's one thing that you can't say about Hugh Freeze. Like I've been making the argument that if Hugh Freeze, the way this season is going, if he lands a top 5 class, he might be the best recruiter in the country. Not in-game coach. Don't freak out on me in the comments, but I don't know what he's selling at this point.
Right.
But he's getting studs. I mean, I'm telling y'all, went and saw Deuce last night. The dude, we haven't had a quarterback with that skill set at Auburn since number 2.
Right.
He's getting guys that Auburn hasn't got in a long time, if ever. But then you look at the 3 hours on Saturday and you're like, do you know how to use them? You know, the whole cook with the recipe and groceries argument.
Yeah.
Mike Davis says, no reason at this point to play Peyton Thorne, Hank, or White, Walker White. Pick one and develop for the next year. Play the youth, get them experience, and hopefully keep them. You do with the young guys. You do have to worry about, especially with Walker White, about you put them out there too early, and it can really mess up their development. And this is something that coaches talk about often. Have to be careful with true freshmen, and I would not like to see Walker out there if it potentially damages his development as a QB, especially when, from a coaching standpoint, like Walker's not going to save you, right? But
That's
you
true.
can ruin him.
That's
and
true.
expecting him to come in and save you, I don't think is the right perspective, but I understand where Mike is coming from. Frank Freeze, by the end of the season, home games will look like 2012 empty. Boy, every time anybody brings up 2012, 3-9, right? Worst season in 50 years at that point at Auburn. Is Auburn headed toward another worst season in 50 years? Certainly we hope not, but it doesn't look good right now. Thomason. Durkin needs a kick in the junk for every 3-man non-pressure on converted 3rd and longs. Man will have no pelvis left. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's the one criticism that I do have is the 3rd and long defense. It feels like maybe take your chances, get after the quarterback. These DBs don't get their heads around. They're not playing the ball well in those situations. And certainly, Ike had mentioned that, his disappointment in Keontae Scott. Last comment here, Cool Breeze. We don't use Cam effectively, 10 targets minimum. It's hard, man, when you shorten your playbook this much. Yeah, like there weren't a lot of targets for anybody out there today. We're using Fairweather ineffectively. I don't know, man. Today was tough. I liked them mixing Malcolm Simmons into the game plan. He made some plays out there.
That was awesome.
Just wasn't consistent. All right. Whew. Boy, you guys had a lot to say today. So guys, final thoughts before we get out of here. We've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. I said what I had to say at the beginning. Again, I picked Missouri in this one because of what we saw here at the end. Finding ways to lose seems to be a theme. Dustin, closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Same thing I say every Saturday, dude. It feels like when you're in the gym and you're shooting free throws and you just can't make one, and eventually you got to grab the ball and walk up and just hit a layup real quick so you see the ball go through the hoop. I keep saying every week, Auburn's got to see the ball go through the hoop. And I actually predicted Auburn to win on Friday's show against my better judgment. Just kind of like we talked about earlier, thinking like Auburn will find a win here. Like we're in every game at some point. And there for a brief moment when we recovered the muff punt, I was like, oh my God, the ball bounced our way. Because I was expecting us to kick that ball out the back of the end zone or something. Okay.
Yeah.
And like we landed on it for a touchdown. It wasn't us that muffed the fumble. They muffed the fumble. And we scored. Like, has Auburn Jesus returned to us? No. No. Here we go again. So it's Mike, I think everyone's asking the question, what can Auburn do the rest of the year? You're going to be in close games. Like we've seen Auburn get blown out one time, right? You're going to be in close games. Change the culture, man. Put the ball through the hoop. Find a way to win these close games, and maybe these young guys can take that into next year. That's really all I got.
Closing thoughts, B.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dustin. We do need to have some success just so that the players can get a reward for their hard work that they're putting in during the week. These guys aren't mailing it in. They're going out there and they're playing hard. Unfortunately, this is a situation we're in. This is the only decision left to make is that you change the quarterback not because you think you're just going to flip and win you a bunch of games, but because I've reached the limit of where we can go with this one. And even if the next guy comes in here, if it's Hank and he's a redshirt freshman this year, you've seen some playing time. You have something to build on, and we have something to aspire to. Not being able to trust your quarterback for like 2 whole quarters, like, listen, you're not even going to throw it. It was never more obvious than them not being willing to throw the ball. Once we got the lead, they were like, no way we're going to let you have a chance to mess this up. No throwing. You're going to run it. Jarquez going to run it. Jarquez going to run it. Damari's going to run it. You're going to run it again. Cobb's going to run it. No, you are not throwing this ball. That is an indictment of that shows you how little faith Hugh Freeze has in Thorne's ability to run it. At this point, you just have to ask, if you have so little faith in him being able to throw it, which you know you want to do as a coordinator and the coach, you want to push it downfield. Why are you still playing somebody who can't do what makes your system run best? That decision, that question, I don't know why he doesn't change it. Like, you bought a lemon. Okay, it's a lemon. Like, we don't even have to get on here and talk about how PT ain't it. PT ain't been it since last year when I told y'all he wasn't it last year. And y'all were trying to act like because Hugh Freeze made the decision, then there must be some greatness coming out of him that we don't see yet. No, it was obvious he's not good. He's not good this year. Let's move on. Change. Do something different, because you can do that. You can't make Peyton Thorne good, but what you can do is bring somebody else here and find out if there is something great in either one of these guys. Holden probably won't play here next year. Play him. What do you have to lose by playing Holden Gurner? Give him a chance to spin the ball. Is it going to be worse than 2-5 on the season? We're 2-5. What are you protecting at this point by not making the switch? Nothing is being protected. Guys are going to get They're going to be frustrated because they're not getting looks, or they're going to be frustrated that they're not getting production, or they're going to be frustrated because their ribs are going to be damaged because the quarterback's overthrowing them or throwing them poor balls.
That hurt my feelings.
Not only do I get to not be a part of a winning team, do I not get a chance to put good film on tape for my future prospects, do I not get a chance to get the numbers, I'm also going to get injured because you are playing a poor quarterback. It's causing way more problems than is of giving solutions to play the wrong guy. When does Hugh Freeze make the switch? You got to play somebody else.
Well, look, end of the day, I agree with you on a lot of that. I just think the decision was made in the offseason about what direction to go. And after they went back to Peyton Thorne, after a bad half of football from Hank Brown, it was pretty clear that they were stuck, that Peyton wasn't the problem. He's not, in their minds, he's not enough of the problem to do what you're saying here. Another super chat here says, "Be Will for head coach."
I'll take it. I'll get fired for the buyout. We're going to do it my way. We doing it my way. And if I end up doing, how many more games we got? We got 5 games. If we go 1-4 down the stretch, I'll take my money. We good, because that's all Hugh Freeze going to do anyway.
All right, guys, let's go and get out of here. We appreciate everybody for joining the post game.